into my computer.
I don't know, but we're live now, so we're gonna have to deal with it. I didn't hear anything, by the way.
Oh,
So,
good. It just chimed in my ear like a bright bell.
oh no, actually, so just so you know, I was playing around with the settings while I was waiting for you to come in. I thought I was gonna be late, by the way, and we might be streaming live on Facebook, but I don't know. So,
I love how this is just straight up trial and error for us.
so what I'm saying is, I get also if something is said that shouldn't be said, I can usually go and edit it, even though we never had to before. But just in case, just be aware that
I
this is live.
gotcha.
It might be
All
live.
right.
We'll
It
find out
might,
later.
yeah. Well, if it is, we should probably have like the chat up because we did miss one chat last time. One comment from Jason who had a great point. I don't remember at the moment, but when I was talking to him, he's like, "Yeah, I had a great point to add to what you guys were talking about." So
Oh,
we weren't live that time, and we didn't know.
well, yeah, I know we've been live on the Coach Makuzi YouTube channel, but honestly, there's no subscribers on that, so no one, I don't think anyone watched it. And so if we are live on Facebook now, I do have a chat up that Jen was just mentioning. I didn't even know that was a
Mhm.
thing. I started clicking until now.
I didn't
So
know either until our boy Jay pointed it out. I'm like, "Thank you, our amazing listener."
we're such professional podcasters. Anyways, if you are listening and not watching, welcome to our podcast. We record Tuesdays. Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And we usually have our partner in crime, Alex, with us, who is not going to be with us today. But with me, I'm Chris Cusimano, by the way. And with me is who?
Jen Konikoff.
Jen with one N.
Jen with one N.
Yeah. So actually, we started a little late today. That's on me. I actually had a webinar, not a webinar, a presentation to me from another podcaster, the Bigger Pockets people, which you
Yeah.
are a fangirl of.
I have been a Bigger Pockets fan for years, to the Brandon Turner days, David Green,
Even other
and
names.
yes, I love everything that they put out. Great for entrepreneurs, wealth building, real estate, how to use real estate just as a platform to catapult your generational wealth. So I'm really excited to hear what your meeting about Bigger Pockets was about.
Well, don't get
So
too don't get too
spill it.
excited.
Oh
So,
shit. Okay, fine.
I mean, it may be something, in the future. Basically, what they wanted to do was to sell us a package of leads for people, for investors looking for real estate agents in our
Mm.
area. And truth be told, that is not my forte, at least as of now. We're going to get to why it may be our forte in the near future, what we're doing on our team here on Thursdays. But basically, we have always focused on our team, you know, primary homeowners for the most part, people looking to buy and sell for their personal use. And of course, some 1031 exchanges here and there and some rentals here and there. And the big reason why is, and now that we're streaming live, I have to be a little more careful what I say without offending people. But I'm gonna be real. Not renters, investors are a full time job on their own. They're not loyal, and their tremendous time sucks. Let me explain why. But go ahead, Jen.
Well, okay, so a platform like Bigger Pockets that and I'm going to speak specifically to their podcast, they bring on just amazing success stories of other investors out there that share their stories, their highs, their lows, the ugly, all aspects of it. But at the end of the day, they have made a career out of this. So they inspire a lot of people. But with that comes a lot of ideas. These new investors get excited. They have this money. Where am I going to put this? And then they listen to a platform like Bear Pockets that gives them these amazing ideas, but then they become scatterbrained, right? I could do this. I can do an
Yep.
Airbnb there. I can flip this duplex. I can house hack over here. There's just so many things, which becomes a full-time job. I mean,
My dog's about to throw up next to it. I hope you don't hear it. Do you hear it?
I get.
I'm watching him like, and it's the one who ate all those passies that I spent 10 grand to remove. And I'm like, God, I hope you didn't eat another passy.
Oh my God. I laughed really hard in your ears. Sorry about that. Because that was not what I was expecting.
Me
You to
either.
say after I just gave you my passionate my dialogue here on the excitement
I'm watching.
that
My poor guy. He didn't throw up. He obviously needs to. I hope it's not another $10,000 pacifier situation. But anyways, you want to know if you want to never worry about waking up to your alarm ever again, they need to make alarm clocks the sound of dogs throwing up because it's the sound that will get anyone on their feet and grabs their attention, especially if you have like carpet or anything.
It's funny. I mean,
it is a passy. He threw up a passy. Hold on. Don't go anywhere.
oh my God.
Yeah, that's so gross. There. This is live. We can't edit this out. Okay,
This is as live as it gets, and
that's so gross. Why'd you do that?
ooh, they should make an alarm of it. Well, same concept. That sound before anybody throws up. It's like the most alarming
that's so
sound in
gross.
the world.
The scary part about it is that it was just like, so in the passies they have like the plastic back, and then you have the part that the babies suck on,
The
and
nipple, Chris,
yeah,
the nipple.
we can say that. So
I mean,
nipple
the
was
nipple of the pacifier.
that came out, but I hope he didn't get a whole passy with that big plastic part because that was what was stuck in his stomach before. Anyways, I'm kind of concerned now, but I'll keep an eye on him. Hopefully he passes it or throws it up. Anyways, well, welcome to our podcast. That was our that's our introduction into how we roll here. So, anyways, did I lose you, Jen?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here, and I'm here for this roller coaster of a ride.
You look shell shocked. Okay. So
no, I have a dog. On Saturday we had to do an emergency vet stop before the surprise party for our OG dog that lives with our in-laws.
What happened?
That girl she's got like 12 lives. I don't know. I've thought she was gonna die at least 10 years ago. She's 18, and we think she possibly had a seizure or maybe some neurological issues. Not sure. She couldn't walk, was yelping all night. And Alan and I took her to the vet, and miraculously, the woman could walk when we walked into the vet. She must have heard our conversation. Like, if she's in pain, we're going to have to do something. She said, not today.
Nope.
She's doing it.
She went salsa dancing the next day.
Oh, my God. They gave her a shot, and she's great. She's great. So I get dogs. You're good.
That's how it always happens. Even with like when you go to a doctor or you get your car looked at, that problem, the whatever it is, the symptom typically disappears when you're in front of a professional and you look like a dummy. That's just how things work. It's really odd.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go back into the topic at hand.
Yes,
so
yes. Full-time job, investors.
Yeah, you sound very experienced in these matters with Bigger Pockets. And I know you have Airbnbs. Is that how you got into the game?
Yes. So, yeah, actually, I was initially I experienced exactly those feelings, but I'm not one of those people that jumped on it. I really thought about how I was going to approach it before contacting anyone. And one of the episodes that got me was with Avery, who I ended up contacting her company, her brokerage in Tennessee, with myself and my partner. And that's how we kind of got rolling. But yes, Bigger Pockets pretty much ignites all the possibilities that real estate can help you with. So I was very excited, figured out a path, a niche that I wanted to go down and really explore. And that's why I am excited about this topic. Sorry, the meeting wasn't what you expected.
Oh, no. It's a future thing. So, okay, so I'm going to go back and try to clarify what I mean by time suck with investors. And I'm not trying to be derogatory in any way or disrespectful, but let's talk about the realness of it. When someone comes, they want to look for an investment property. They're looking to do one or two things just initially, unless it's a 1031 exchange. If they're not doing a 1031 exchange, they're looking to do a hold, which is a buy and rent, or they're looking to do a flip. Most are trying to do flips because they hear podcasts and they hear these gurus talking about you can make all this money flipping houses. But the truth be told, they're in South Florida at least, and this is how I got into the industry, by the way, working with a flipper. There's a ton of competition out there and a ton of people backed with cash, and this is their full-time gig, meaning they're at the courthouses, they're analyzing the marketplace, they're on the phones, they're doing the flyers and the marketing and all that stuff. So when you have a one-off investor who's never invested before or still only done a few, and they want you to be the realtor to find them investments. They want you to find a property that's typically 25 to 30% below market value, where there's a gap in there where they can fix it up and sell it. Those properties are extremely hard to find because as soon as they're even sniffing the market, those full-time investors are already all over it.
All over it.
So if you spend the amount of time to actually go out and find one, which is a tremendous amount of time, and you go look at the property, not only do you have to win the bids against the big guys, but then you have to rely on that investor that's not too experienced to not be gun shy, I guess the word is, trigger shy. I don't know. Not be shy about moving forward on purchasing. And in my career, in my experience early on, when I took on anything with a pulse, and I worked with people like that, more times than not, these investors decided to pull out. And not only that, decided to ghost me after because they realized they were in over their head. And I decided early on in my real estate residential career, that is not where I wanted to focus my energy on. Mm-hmm. I wanted to focus on, parents moving in with their kids to a new neighborhood, or grandparents downsizing because they're empty nesters and stuff like that. End user primary products. And that's why it wasn't for me, because he not only wanted investors, but he wanted buyer investors. And the combination of both of those are just a tremendous time out of business. And I was real with him, and he appreciated it. But with that said, we are leveling up our real estate game at the Homes by Kuzy team, and we're going through a pretty in-depth training covering everything from divorce sales, probate sales, 1031 exchanges, Delaware statutory, I think it's called, the states or something. I don't even know the name of it. All these different things that we're spending a lot of money to educate our team with, because if we can now become wealth advisors and wealth managers for our clients, where our advice and our guidance from what we are learning from all these trainings and events that we're spending the time mastering, if we can now use that information to save them more money than they're paying us, then our value is worth its weight in gold. So we are going to explore that route. So what I told the guy was, very nice guy, and I was like, listen, dude, not for nothing, I'm going to be real with you. I appreciate your hustle, but right now at this stage of the game, this is not a smart investment for me. I would actually probably give BiggerPockets a bad name by messing up with people who went to you, trusted you guys as a prime source for providing real estate contacts that can actually provide them what they want. And that's just real talk.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciated you being real with him, because why waste your time, right? You want to be able to have a partner in this versus, like you said, you would probably have a poor experience with them because that's just not what you're looking to do. But I'm excited overall about the wealth planning, because our real estate is one of the top ways to build wealth. And if we can be that bridge between that for our clients and their generational wealth, I'm always here for them. So it's just adding that next level of conversation to our initial conversations with our sellers and our buyers. Well, putting in that perspective,
generational wealth and wealth in general is always built. What I always built, I'm going to say a majority of the time it's built over investing inside of real estate. It is. There's no one will argue and question that. And for us personally, I haven't really dabbled too much in that world because of what I mentioned earlier on in my career. And now I've been spending the bulk of my energy growing a team of like-minded agents like yourself and our team members. But now we're at a point where we have a pretty solid core group of agents that the team is built for the most part. So now we just got to find ways to then move into another realm and level up what we can provide on top of what we're already providing, which is a lot. So
I agree. And I will say our team, we have such a stacked team. I'm really excited for 2025 because we are in such a great position. We're hungry. We are always here with the client first in mind. It's not hungry for commission. We're hungry to serve, right? We serve our clients, our communities. How else can we best serve? So I'm really excited for what 2025 holds for us.
Well, building a team was a learning curve when it comes to a number of things. And I realized probably about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that focusing on agents to be a part of this community that we built at our team, they would have to be they would have to get excited of giving. Like I get so excited when I show a seller the listing video or the number of views on their ad or the editing of their photos, and like I get or the gifting program that they get in the mail. I get so excited about just giving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy about people like yourself and Marissa and Jair and JD and on and on and on and Walton. I can name them all. Are extremely are built the same way. We've had some really transactional based minded people on our team before, and it just doesn't mesh well. And it's nothing wrong against them or us. It's just it's just a
Well, it's a
concept that
goal.
it's a concept that just I don't align with, and they don't align with us, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
We're very relationship based. But anyhow, I do want to talk about, we're talking about all the cool things that we offer. And before the Bigger Pockets meeting I just had, we had our team meeting. And on Wednesdays on our team meeting, just kind of pull back the curtain a little bit, we have our transaction coordinator, Jamie. She comes on just on Wednesdays because she's always working hard. And she also works for other companies too and teams. And she said that this past week was the first week she's ever had where nobody submitted a contract for her to work. And she's like, guys, it's slow everywhere.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, yeah, new contracts. So typically, sorry, Chris, but
No, go.
typically by Wednesday, she would have, I think she said 10, possibly about 10 new contracts, and she's gotten 0 new ones. So she still has a full load from previous weeks, but as of right now, nothing new, which really just goes to show, and we're going to talk about the market, but it goes to show where we currently are, especially seeing somebody, having that conversation with somebody who has hundreds of files at a time.
Yeah, she doesn't just work for us. She works for a number of people. So she's saying across the board, the sales are pretty slow. And your experience, your Boca, I see you have a Boca listing. It's getting a lot of showings. That's not under contract yet. I thought it would be.
So that one, I know, you know what? That one is such a gem too. The Boca Villa, such a gem. I think we're just waiting right now. And I actually had this conversation with the sellers maybe yesterday or the day before. There's lots of factors, and we talked about a lot of factors. And one thing that I mentioned, she goes, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." I said, you have to realize we had about 2 weeks of hurricane scare, right?
Yeah.
So those 2 weeks where showing slowed down, people had to deal with life. People had to deal with families that were affected by this. And now that impact is impacting buyers. How excited are they to jump into purchasing one of the largest items in their life, right? In the middle of quote unquote hurricane season. Actually, it should be ending, no? Speaking
November.
Oh, we're almost there, guys. Just hold tight. But then again, that spikes up the insurance conversation, which is another piece. So, which I talked to them in depth about. But just honing in on that hurricane aspect. So we need to give buyers time to forget about those hurricanes and remind them of what it is important about them finding a new home. And they just need time. Just focusing on that particular point.
This time of year is always typically a little slower because it's right after the summer rush.
And the holidays.
And then
the holidays are coming in.
And it's before the snowbirds come down, because a lot of times snowbirds come down and make their purchases in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as active during the summer season though, because of the holidays and all of that. So then you got the holidays and the kids are back in school and parents are focused on that stuff. It pretty typically slows down around this time anyhow. And I think the storms do have a part of that, have a play in that. And you made a good point about insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive in a little bit. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper here on the analytics, because twice a week we give updates to our sellers. We call it the feedback frenzy in a number of ways. It can be an email, text, phone call, video, whatever. And was it yesterday or the day before? Oh, what's today? Wednesday. So it was Monday.
So Monday. Yeah.
On Monday, I actually all weekend I had a little bit of anxiety about, like, I really need to talk to my sellers because I know they're probably feeling it right now. So so I made it my mission to all day Monday find some cool stuff to give them that's new and different that I haven't provided before, which we'll get to in a minute, and then also update them on the state of the market. And I want to have conversations with them. And the ones who picked up said the same thing. They said, "Oh, because it's an election year." And I'm hearing colleagues say, "Oh, it's an election year." But then I'm like, is that really the case? That just seems like a really convenient answer. I'm not sure if that's like, you know what I mean?
I mean, not to mention the fact that insurance has like quadrupled
Oh
in
yeah.
in the last few years post all these hurricanes. I mean, that's the biggest piece. I don't care what anybody says. The insurance costs and the affordability costs of things right now.
Oh, you
Inflate.
nailed it. Let's get to that. But to answer the question about do elections actually have an impact on the market? The answer is no, it doesn't. I pulled up the data, well, at least to be safe in our area, I pulled up Palm Beach County and Broward County, all sales, all transactions across the board, from $50,000 condos to multi-million-dollar estates on the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Across the board, the sales and the sales written and the sales closed, two different things, didn't fluctuate at all during the past 15 years, or at least the last three election cycles. It was just a normal ebb and flow. There was no drastic change whatsoever. So the election thing, even though this is a very unique election, I would argue, with the circumstances that are at play, but
Mm-hmm.
the election issue as a bigger picture hasn't swayed or moved the needle in terms of Palm Beach or Broward County markets at all. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so that's not it. So when I really looked into the data of what is affected in the market, a couple of things came up. And you're going to talk about housing affordability with insurance. And before we talk
Mm-hmm.
about insurance, I do want to say I pulled up the housing affordability chart. And for the US, by the way, I should probably narrow it down here. But the housing affordability did not increase. It actually has gone down recently than previous years, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
But if you think about why, we have a very narrow short-term memory as human beings. We are looking at what you call, Jennifer, the unicorn years, the pandemic years, where the interest rates were incredibly low
Mm-hmm.
and homes were selling incredibly fast, and insurance wasn't crazy like it is now. And we're comparing the affordability of today to that. But if we take the affordability of today and go long-term back through the course of a couple decades,
Mm-hmm.
affordability is not that bad. Is actually pretty good compared to, let's say, the 80s when it was 18% interest rates, right?
Yeah. I mean, people just
Um,
also have to stop spending too.
well, yeah, that's a bigger picture on the
I
economy.
mean,
Well, yeah.
yeah, we can sit here. Yeah, we can sit here and just every topic point just opens up a new
Oh
little
God,
can of worms.
this could be a 4 hour like a circle conversation that we can have
Mm,
about all of this. But yeah,
yeah,
but
because
basically,
it all ties in.
it ties in. But affordability didn't really get bad, even though insurance
Hmm.
went up and rates went up. But rates didn't go much higher up than in previous years prior to the unicorn years. And
Yeah.
get this, the amount of inventory and the number of closed sales is right on par with today, what we call a slow market, than pre-COVID. I'm talking
Oh yeah.
2019 and before. We're actually in a better market now than then, right? But, and those were considered good markets.
Did you use Chartmasters for that? Because that was some
I
good stuff on
didn't.
there. Oh
I,
no, well, it's Chartmasters also has that data, which supports, right? It's perfect.
I didn't. I need to dive into Chartmasters. I use Trend Graphics, Sun Stats, Market Stats, and uh, Fred, the St. Louis Fred website. I love their data. The St. Louis Fed is a Fred or Fred website. They have great data points in there, and I pulled all that up. Anyways,
Sweet.
so it was like, so what's going on with the market? So this is just kind of my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance has gone up a lot higher than before, and that's a whole podcast to talk about why. So insurance is high. The hurricanes hit. This is a very interesting election cycle, even though before we mentioned election years aren't really at play. But in this
Mm-hmm.
case, it may be. So I'm kind of curious what the data shows after that. But what happens, we are coming out of a pandemic, a weird market shift where the market shifted heavily to a seller's market, which drastically increased the price because of the low interest rates. Money was essentially free. And
Mm-hmm.
now those homes were affordable, even though the prices went up because money was free, basically. But then those prices stayed high because sellers saw what their neighbors got 2 years ago, and they want the same. But the prices, the rates went up. So
Mm-hmm.
that same home, even though it's the same price, it's less desirable because the cost of borrowing is higher. I mean, their monthly payments are higher, and the amount of interest that gets amortized over the course of the loan is higher too. And then you add on top of that the insurance premium amounts that has increased across the board. Gosh, I think my one investment property, I'm probably breaking even now because insurance hikes.
Yeah.
And then also taxes got reassessed for these higher property values. When you buy a house, you take on the taxes of the previous owner, and a lot of times those are capped in homestead, meaning they stayed relatively low if the homeowner was in there for a bit. But when all of a sudden the price of the house you bought went up 200K, you're getting assessed on that, and your tax bill jumped. My tax bill in this house, my escrow tax insurance of this house that I'm sitting at right now, jumped up to $1,100 a month,
Yeah.
and that's a big hit. And imagine if I wasn't in a position where I could afford that. So now, when people are buying houses, Jen, the rates are higher. The taxes have already been reassessed, and they're higher than they were before. And insurance are higher, and the rates are higher. So you take the rates, price, insurance, and the other one I just said, I lost train of thought, and it just became less desirable because it's just less desirable.
Yeah, it's a combination of all those factors that
it.
becomes like less desirable for a buyer to jump into the pool. And, they really have to assess the fact, is renting for me currently or is buying for me? They have to sit down and be a smart buyer, smart consumer, and really look at the numbers, what works for them, because they may be paying $700 more a month by renting versus buying it. Every individual has a different scenario happen.
Yeah, you nailed it.
And that's what hiring the right person matters. And I wanted to circle back to what you said. No. So I wanted to circle back to you said I have a lot of conversations with people because, I'm a chatty Cathy, and, no. So, and people, that I meet tell me all the time, like, my agent never told me that my taxes were going to increase the following year. So for any new agent out there, please, please, please don't fall into that category. Educate, and educate, because that business that you worked so hard to get, and you closed the deal for your buyer, you got them in their absolute favorite home, you worked so hard, but they might not want to use you ever again, because come that new tax, it's reassessed, and now their taxes go up an extra $2,000 a month, or an extra $2,000 overall. So it's important to educate throughout. And that's one thing that I always hear people say, my agent never told me.
Mm-hmm. Or my mortgage broker never told me.
Or my mortgage broker never told me. Yeah, it's exactly. So.
No, you nailed it. I think I did content on that. Did I? I did a YouTube video on that, actually. So check it out. The Homes by Kuzy YouTube channel. I definitely mentioned something to that effect.
Shameless plug.
Please subscribe. I'm begging you. Yeah, no, that's the point. So that actually goes to another big point, is that every time the market becomes easier, like it was during the unicorn years, where it was, you could put a Post-it note on the front door and sell it. You didn't have to put any actual effort into it. The sales increase, and when sales increase, the income of the industry increases, and people gravitate towards the industry every time that happens. And there was no difference to this time around during COVID. Plus, a lot of people were out of work and they're looking for other ways to supplement their income, and they became realtors. The problem with that is, and not knocking anyone, there's going to be a lot of great people who come out of it. But the problem is they're not experienced in those things that we were just talking about, and they don't even know that those things exist. And it's not because they did anything wrong or they're stupid. They're just not experienced. They didn't have to go through it.
Yeah.
So of course they're not going to know. And furthermore, they don't really know what a real estate career is.
Market.
Until now they do.
I don't know if you said that. You froze a little bit.
Oh, what?
Oop.
Oh no, is my connection getting all wonky?
No, you're back. Don't touch anything.
Okay, I'm not going to touch anything. So I don't know where I left off, but what I was saying is these agents who came in recently during this time, kudos for them for exploring other options. And some of them are going to do great, but they've also never experienced a market like a normal market, where you actually have to provide constant communication to your sellers and actually work and reach out and pick up the phone to try to find their buyer. They never had that world before. They simply got their license. The real estate broker might have just said, "Hey, just put it on the market. When a contract comes in, we'll handle it," and that's it. And they might have gotten paid on that deal.
Exactly.
But that was it. But now, you actually have to work now, and
you
then
gotta
that's
hustle.
where you gotta hustle. It's a hustling game.
And you have to be innovative. We talked about that in our meeting. I mean, literally, look at this list I sat on Friday and called every single one of these people, made
Nice.
notes, that showed the property, pushed hard to get some feedback. If you don't have if your buyer, no longer is interested in this property, hey, who do you have in your contacts that might love this place? Let's talk. So really pushing, and that's just contact and making sure that that feedback is there to the buyer, to the sellers.
So
Because yes,
for you guys who are not familiar with what Jen just did on the Homes by Kuzi team, and also I teach it in plug Coaching by Kuzi program, is there's a monthly workbook where it's actual steps that you'll do every day, week, month with your schedule in it.
Mm.
And our members get these for free every month. They just have to sign up at coachingbykuzi.com. But anyways, what I teach there is the same thing that, I shared with Jen and other people, is that you actually have to go out and work. You need to establish relationships with individuals, but not just talking to them begging for business. You have to go out, reach out to them, and tell them the interesting things that you provide that our competitors don't. And that's what's really good about slower markets. I actually remember the last time there was a slowdown in the market, I was doing business with a particular lender, and I had a conversation with him in his office. He's a great lender, by the way. I don't use him anymore, but that's not for anything personal. Maybe we can cover that later. But he's a very smart business person. And one of the conversations that really stuck with me was that he said to me, is like, Chris, when times are easy, when selling in real estate agents, from my experience, get really content, meaning they don't really enhance their offerings. They don't really go out of their way to do anything above and beyond. They just ride the wave.
Yeah,
right?
they do.
And but when the market's slow, like today, I see the good agents doing what you're doing right now, and it's finding ways to elevate what you provide to your clients in terms of our core offer, products, services, guarantees. And we can get into a whole thing on that, and we teach it in our coaching. But there's a new thing that another lender partner and I reached out to me with. Well, actually, we started a conversation a couple of weeks ago about how we can add value for people. And he reached back out to me, said he came up with a solution. And I don't know if it was from our conversation. Likely not. He probably was working on it anyhow, but I just want to make myself look important.
Well, it's all good.
so he was like, listen, man, I got something for your clients that, we're not really pushing out too many agents or teams, just for a select few. And I wanted you to offer this. I'm like, oh, cool. What's that? And basically what he is offering is a 1.5% lender credit to buyers on the loan amount when they buy a house. So as a buyer, or if we have a listing, we can offer it to a buyer. So let me break that down if you're not familiar with these terms, or, just didn't hit right away. So basically, let's say someone buys a $500,000. Let's say you represent a buyer, or if you are a buyer, hi, if you're a buyer, call us and you want to take advantage of this.
I'm
virtually
I am your
handshaking.
buyer. Yeah, I am, Brendan.
I was like,
I talk with my hands.
I put my right hand up, but on the screen, it's actually looks like my left hand. So subconsciously, I lifted my left hand, and I'm like, this is weird. And I did the robot on, anyways.
So did I. Sorry, we look like idiots together.
It works.
Good.
Okay. Anyways, so let's say you buy a $500,000 house, and your loan amount is $400,000. So you're putting $100K down. Let's just say. But now, if your loan amount's $400,000, you can now get 1.5% of that back towards whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be closing costs or down payment. It could be toward repairs. Right? So that's what, $6K, if my math is right. And on the flip side, if you have a listing, if we have a listing, we can now offer that to the buyer of that listing. And we can put it in the description. Hey, X amount of money credit available using a seller/lender, a seller preferred lender credit, whatever you want to word it to be. Whatever, you put an asterisk there, and then you'll put the details in the broker remarks for the real estate agents to read on how it works. But you think about it. So let's say we're in a market like now when it's slower. There are people still buying. They're just taking their time because they can. But what if you give them a reason to speed up this decision-making process where, like, I don't want to miss this opportunity? And that's, as real estate agents, we need to do now.
Yeah. So
what we're offering for our sellers, we were offering free home warranties for buyers if they purchased the house. We could talk about that, the details of that in a minute. But for the sake of the conversation of the 1.5 thing, we can now also put in the remarks in our marketing that the seller and the lender is going to provide a 1.5% lender credit. So now this buyer who's taking their time and shopping
Mhm.
Like, you know what? I don't want to miss that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10K that's on the table.
Yeah.
And if I don't act on this property sooner, I might miss that opportunity. Um, so that's what is going back to the conversation I had with that lender years ago is when you get content, you don't really think about putting those things in play.
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden when things slow down, we got to get creative. And the bright side of all of this is every market breakthrough that every real estate business breakthrough I've had in my career has
Mhm.
been on the tail end of a downturn every
Yeah.
single time. You know,
This is the time where the ideas are cooking, right? And
that's it.
you're not sitting idly, twiddling your thumbs waiting for business to come. How are you going to elevate the services that you offer, right? So that you can continue to bring that constant flow of business of serving your community so that people see you as the person that they need to call whenever they think of real estate. Like that's our goal. Our goal is to make sure we're always at top of mind. So how do we stay at top of mind? By being the best of our game. How do we
Yep.
do that? By constantly innovating and finding solutions to every problem that they have, because that also is a part of our job description, if not one of the highest of calibers. Is we are here to solve their problem. Their problem is they need to move. They need to pull this equity to be able to purchase over here. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
You said a lot of good points there. Well, any
I'm
business,
such a smart lady.
yeah, you got your, you did your hair today and you got your brain going today. You're on
Listen,
point.
I swam this morning.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, I work out pretty much every day, but I used to be afraid of swimming, and I've conquered that fear. So I got my laps in this morning, and I'm feeling great.
I worked out this morning too. I felt great during it also.
Ah, look at
Look at that.
us. Endorphins are pumping.
They definitely are. I'm actually feeling a little bit under weather. We'll get back in that conversation in a minute. But it was so weird. I think I'm overworked, Jen. Because like yesterday was such a weird feeling that I don't think I've had in a while. Where I don't know if you experienced this. Like the whole day, I was just really lightheaded and like this like fog,
Yeah.
and I was semi nauseous. Where I couldn't really focus on my work. I wasn't motivated, and which is weird for me because I'm a workaholic.
Yeah. No, that's a you're either ill with a virus of sorts, or your body's telling you that you just need to slow it down for
Yeah,
a
but
sec
I don't
and
feel
reset.
sick like that. But today I'm also feeling a little bit the same as I did yesterday, just not as much. Like
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, I couldn't come on a podcast and have a conversation with any type of value or clear communication. Like I was so out of it. And today I'm feeling that way too, just less. And so I don't feel sick. I think it is possibly like the combination. Like I feel for my clients right now. Like I feel for
Oh
them
yeah.
in my soul because much of our time is talking to them and providing feedback and updates on all that. And at the same time,
Absolutely.
we're humans too. We need to feed our family too. And if our inventory isn't moving off the shelf, income is not coming in to feed our kids either. So, but we
Correct.
can't convey our stresses to them. We have to be the one to talking about theirs. So I think the combination of internally holding on to all you stress. I don't share personally my stresses with too many people. I don't want to burden
Mm-hmm.
my wife with it or anyone else. So I hold them inside. But then now that you're holding that inside, and then also taking in all your client stresses, and you're also trying to make them feel good and positive, and then also being a dad and all that. I think it did take a little bit of
It took
a
a
toll.
toll on
It
you.
did. It did.
Yeah. I mean, our job is to be a soundboard essentially for how they're feeling, to provide them, yes, with data points by giving them that feedback and really walking them through the process, reassuring them that this is the process, this is what we're trust the professionals. But on the back end as well, we are. I'm an empath, so I feel
Yeah.
hard when I feel there's stress in my heart of hearts. So, um, we're in this industry because, of course, like anyone else, we love to make money, but we love people and we love being able to help people in this process. So when the inventory is not moving, their stress is definitely way a little harder on us.
Because we're human, and
We're human.
I would say that on I don't know the proper word for it. I was going to say their emotions weigh on us where we feel a little bit of responsibility somehow that we are not providing them with the results that they expected. But the truth be told, I'm
Mm-hmm.
very transparent with my sellers right now. And I go on appointments and I said, listen, this is how long it's likely going to take. It's not going
Yeah.
to be this. And even though you manage and you set those expectations up front and you're being really real with them on what's happening, you also could feel that maybe they don't quite believe you. And
Mm.
maybe you're just, just saying that so you look like a hero later. And you kind of feel a little bit of responsibility for not moving quicker than even though you told them it may move. Even if they don't listen
Yeah.
to you about pricing or repairs that need to be made, even if they don't listen to you about anything, you still feel a little bad. And because you have a big heart, Jennifer, it probably weighs on you like it does with me. You're like, oh, I'm offering more than any other real estate agent can offer. I'm
I
providing
know.
services and value that doesn't exist in the marketplace only with us. I know this to be true because I researched it. I was crystal clear and honest about what's happening in the market, how long it's going to take, what your price should be. Um,
Yeah.
Yet, as if you're an
Yeah.
empathic human being, you still feel it. You know,
Exactly. I have to like literally like shake myself and say, you have just literally that checklist that you just rattled off. That's exactly, I have to remind myself, yes, you did this. You did your due diligence through and through. And that's why I love the way we do the videos. I love how, because it's a checking point, right? It really forces us to look at these properties, give the full data from the range from days on market to how we believe it will perform based off of what we're seeing. It's not just that we're coming up with this nonsense. It's
yep.
Based off of the historical trends in this community during this time, so on and so on. So at least we can present and feel good about what we're telling our sellers. But yeah, it still kind of stings when it hasn't moved.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify what you were saying there because you gave great information, but the context might have been lost for those who are not familiar with our process. So what she is saying is, when she's talking about the videos with
Oh,
providing information, is that every week, but at least every week, some sellers don't want it that often, but we try to at least once a week provide a real video update of what is happening with their particular house in regards to what's happening in the city, their community, what has gone under contract, compare those to ours. And I wonder if there's a reason why ours didn't go under contract. Why did these get contracts and not us? What has closed? How long did it take them to close? How long did it take these ones that went under contract to get a contract? Did they do something in
mhm.
the marketing that we missed? Is there something within the listing that maybe we inputted it incorrectly that might be getting less views? By diving into the data and the back end analytics of like Realtor.com and Zillow and Homes.com and also our ad spend, it forces us once a week to look at this and analyze it. And we can now look at this, and we'll sometimes, not too often because we're pretty good putting listings in right away. Steve and our admin's pretty good at that. But sometimes we'll notice something and we'll bring this to our seller's attention. But oftentimes in this market, if you could hit all of the 6 requirements to sell a house, but it could be the last one, number 7, which is timing. It just is a timing thing. But
Mhm.
again, I want to stress something extremely, extremely important here that we talked about earlier. Yes, the market is slower than normal, but it's still faster than it was in 2019 and prior.
Yeah.
It's just we're comparing it to 2021 to 2021 and 2022, and even Q1, Q2 of 2023.
Mhm.
But we're not comparing it to a normal market. So normally speaking, this is normal. It just hasn't become normal in the seller's mind because they have a little bit of FOMO because their neighbor got this in 4 days. How come I
Yeah.
didn't? And then you look at him like, because that was 2021.
It's our job as professionals and for anybody out there. It's our job to educate them on these points. Remind them we are not in those years of the 2%, the 3%. It's not happening. This is where we're currently at, and it's on trend with what happened prior to the unicorn years.
You know
It's our
what,
job.
Jen? I do have to say this, and not to brag or gloat, but when the rates got into the high 2s and the low 3s,
Mm-hmm.
and the prices started slowly creeping up, I told anyone who would listen to me to buy a damn house. And no, I don't say no one. People took me up on it, but not nearly enough. I'm like, I don't care what your financial situation. I don't care. Buy a house
Lock
because
it in.
lock it in. Because what's going to happen is the market is going to get flooded with people looking for an opportunity, and all of a sudden the prices are going because there's no inventory at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
prices are going to fly up. And since money is basically free and prices are still lower than they're going to be and know what I heard a lot, and the same thing I've been hearing my whole career, the market's going to crash. That's a sign the market's crashing. And I'm like, the market hasn't crashed since 2000 and what was it? 2007, 8,
Eight,
right?
yeah, that's where I bought my house.
Oh, good timing.
2008. Yeah.
So don't take Jen's advice about invest. I'm just kidding.
No, no, I bought it.
You
I
learned.
bought. No, this house was a steal. I bought it on the back end of the
Oh,
crash.
you played it
Yeah,
right.
yeah, absolutely right, baby.
Yeah, you play. Oh, I thought you meant you messed up and it lost. Okay, got it. You didn't get it on the
No,
downside. You got it at the trough going up. Good for you.
we did very well with this property.
Yeah, and I'm the worst realtor ever. I go on every listing appointment. I tell my sellers not to sell. Like
They
if you don't have
appreciate
to
that.
sell, don't sell. You know.
Mhm.
I took a listing in
Because
Boca.
the timing, yeah, because the timing's not right for them.
Well, yes, that could be a thing too. But I took a listing in Boca last week, actually, on Wednesday. So a week from yesterday, week
Hmm.
from today. And we go on the market in a couple weeks. And I asked them, like, why? I ask all my other sellers, I'm like, why? Can I ask why you're selling? And they usually just, they have their answers. And I told him, and in his case, it's like, listen, not for nothing. You own almost nothing on this place. Your rent can be here about $4,000 a month. And the property values are not going to decrease where you're at. Why wouldn't you just hold
Yeah,
it and rent it and then pass this on to your children? And then maybe it was a vacation home for him. And then this could be a vacation home for them. But in the meantime, you can be collecting income. And then this thing, it's going to be listed at 450. It was a villa in East Boca, a very nice one actually. And then I'm like, this is probably gonna be worth, 600,000 in 5, 10 years, maybe another 10 years
hmm,
after that, maybe 800,000. And then your grandkids can maybe decide if they want to cash out on it. I don't think you should sell. And he looked at me like I have 7 eyes. He's like, you're the third agent I talked to, and not one of them has told me this. And I was
hmm.
like, but guess who got the listing? By the way, I don't do it to get the listing. I generally try. I think as real estate agents, our job is not to get listings. Our job is to try to offer guidance and advice to people who are not in the game. And
Hmm.
if their best interest is not to sell, well, guess what? You didn't lose a listing by being honest. You can't put a price on your integrity. What you did
Correct.
was you gained a raving fan who's going to tell everyone about you. So I'm going to encourage
Absolutely.
real estate agents to be real. So if you don't have to sell in real estate, your real estate, some people do. You need the equity for a number of reasons. Buying a new house, maybe someone's ill in the family, you need it for medical bills or whatever your reason is. But if you don't need the capital, don't sell it. Rent it if you can. It's my advice. Long
Make it
term,
yeah, long term. Make that your first investment property. Boom.
hold it, hold it, hold it,
Without
hold it.
having to put 25%
Yep.
down. Hmm. Well, I feel like we've covered so much.
Are you done?
I'm just looking at my emails and text
I
messages
know.
behind this the double screen I got
I see you
happening.
distracted, Jen.
Well, because I have a million messages regarding one property, so I'm like, "Nyeh."
I know, I know.
And I put it on Do Not Disturb, but I only did it for 1 hour, and I did it clearly too early. So now everything's like ding, 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 ding.
Oh, so okay, we'll wrap up. But what we do, I hope everyone does on the team is, I teach time blocking, and we'll wrap it up with this. I do everything on hourly schedules, like so, like my whole day is written out. Where's my journal? It's probably in my car because I bring it with me everywhere. This is a blank one, but we write out like from 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 12, exactly what we're going to do. And that way you're
Mm-hmm.
never wondering, what are you going to do? So my time block for me ends in 7 minutes. I
Oh,
just,
stop it. Call me overexcited.
but
We'll
anyways,
tackle problems and solve them, suckers.
but you know what? Before my 12 o'clock, I can definitely use a bite to eat and a refresher before I get into it, which I'm going to make a
See?
reel. I'm going to make a reel.
See, I got you, man. I know that you needed that extra beat. So this is me gifting back to you. Don't say I never gave you nothing.
Such bullshitter. All right, Jennifer, go take care of your work. I'll go take them on. You can find Jennifer Konikoff, Instagram, Facebook, and all that jazz.
That's
Same with
it.
me. If you have a realtor and you want to get into some coaching, coachingbykuzi.com, grab it. You start for free. And of course, please consider subscribing and following wherever you're listening or watching this. Adios.
Adios.
Bye.
If
I can get out of here.
There.
Oh, there you go. Bye.
I got it. Bye.